It's gonna be like. So what if we lose? It's gonna be all right. So what if we get swept? It's gonna be all right. So what if we miss out on the money? It's gonna be all right. That he just gives you that impression.
Just getting sued. Everyone's so sensitive. YouTube was demonetizing like half my videos because they were becoming more, you know, progressive, and all of their advertisers would be like, we can't have this.
You just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start, but as we saw tonight.
So Jake's got problems now. Stephen A. Smith just called out Jake Paul for going completely broke after getting hit with lawsuits over allegedly rigging his boxing matches. Word is Jake admitted it wasn't smart to gamble everything, because when you get caught doing shady stuff, there's no escaping what comes next. Stephen's saying once the truth gets out, the damage spreads fast, and this was always gonna blow up eventually. That's what multiple sources are reporting anyway.
It's not abnormal. I'm talking about people who let it cost them their money.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about. If it don't cost you your money, puff, puff, and pass away. Yeah.
Look, I get it. Jake Paul's apparently saying his money's gone, and they even pulled his YouTube content because of violations. He's claiming every single lawsuit ate up millions, and the bills just kept coming. Even though he was making crazy money before, these legal wars supposedly wiped him out completely. Now he's talking about how fast everything can vanish when you're constantly fighting in court.
I can't like say the names, but there's like a firm who has stolen a bunch of money from celebrities in Los Angeles and athletes.
You don't want to say the name because you're probably gonna get sued.
That's another million right there.
Probably gonna sue them one day.
Do a class action.
But Jake Paul's sticking to his story. He's reportedly saying he never fixed anything and threatening to sue anyone who keeps pushing these accusations. His position is that rigged fights break federal law, so falsely accusing him crosses a major line. Jake's claiming these allegations are completely made up and might actually be criminal themselves. Sounds like he's ready to fight back legally to save what's left of his reputation.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was 100% scripted. Mike Tyson repeatedly bit his boxing glove throughout the fight. When fights are scripted, fighters do weird gestures to signal that they're hurt. It's very possible Mike Tyson was biting on his glove to tell Jake Paul to calm down. Now, if that's not enough proof that this fight was scripted, in the middle of the fight, Mike Tyson is literally talking to Jake Paul while they are clinching.
Jake Paul's firing back at critics, calling them clueless for saying his fights are fake. He's apparently explaining that most people trashing him just don't get boxing at all. From his perspective, these critics are missing the tactical elements and can't recognize real skill when they see it. Jake's saying the hate is undeserved because people who call his matches rigged simply don't understand what actually happens in professional boxing.
It have all of us thinking that you was rigging those fights, though. I ain't gonna lie.
You honestly believe that?
I wanted to believe it when you fought Woodley.
Rampage.
Because I'm an MMA guy.
Anyone who believes that narrative, it's like, come on. You think Anderson Silva's gonna lose? You think
No.
Woodley's gonna take a fall? You know these guys.
Yeah, no, I didn't think Anderson would take a fall.
People think the Mike Tyson fight's rigged. I try to understand.
That doesn't make sense to me. Tani Jeffries jumped in defending Jake Paul, shutting down people who claimed Mike Tyson was taking it easy or playing games. His take is that Mike was going full speed because if he'd unleashed a real power shot, Jake would have immediately countered with everything he had. Jeffries is saying critics are clueless about boxing fundamentals and can't see the skill, timing, and tactical decisions happening during the fight, so their complaints are completely off base.
It's so sad that Mike Tyson has got to do this fight. This is what I wrote on Instagram, and someone commented saying he doesn't have to do it, he's choosing to do it. And then I thought, you know, you're right, he is choosing to do it, but why is he choosing to do it? Well, he's doing it for one reason and one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this, so that tells me he's getting bought. So again, it is sad that someone like Mike Tyson can get bought, because this guy is an absolute legend. He shouldn't be able to get bought like this. He's 57 years old. He needs to be enjoying retirement. Now, I don't think that I've got the wealth that Mike Tyson's got, but if someone offered me $20 million to fight Jake Paul, I would say no, because I care too much about my brain health, about my children, about my family, where it seems like he is being bought. And I'm not trying to disrespect the man. I absolutely love the man. It's just so bloody sad, in my opinion.
But analysts on Joe Rogan's show are telling a different story about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson being scripted. They're pointing out how Mike looked absolutely devastating in training footage, but something changed during the actual fight where he seemed to be pulling his punches. These analysts noticed his shots were measured and his aggression felt deliberately dialed back. Compared to his usual intensity, this made the whole thing look choreographed instead of a real competitive battle. People watching are saying the rhythm, timing, and reactions all felt managed rather than natural. Jake Paul claims he wants to face legitimate competition.
Not just world champion, but one of the greatest of all time.
Are the fights even real? Like the Tyson fight? Like I saw video breakdowns of Tyson not throwing punches early on in that fight. I don't know if you've watched any of those videos where like there's a left hook is 100% available. Tyson on in training 99% of the time releases that punch and he held up. Like, do you think that was a real fight?
It looked like sparring to me. That's what it looked like.
But like with an arrangement beforehand?
I wouldn't want to speculate because I haven't talked to anybody about it. But my educated assessment.
Agree.
Yes.
Agree.
It looked like sparring. It did.
But it ends up looking manufactured. Jake Paul's bout with Anthony Joshua allegedly involved rumors that he tried to manipulate the fight through tactical planning and positioning to create advantages. Those schemes apparently fell apart though, forcing Jake to focus mainly on survival instead of actually controlling the action. People watching noticed that while he showed some technical ability and solid defense, his whole approach seemed overly careful, revealing how tough it is to handle an elite opponent like Joshua. This shows that even with extensive preparation and game planning, the fight highlighted problems with executing his strategy completely, proving that calculated approaches don't always work when you're dealing with the chaos of high-level professional boxing.
Could this be the end for him in terms of what he's doing in the boxing ring?
Listen, so long as people will tune in and so long as Jake Paul is paid by Netflix or any broadcaster to air his fights, we're going to see this continue. And Jake Paul knows his business model, right? Now, this deviated, this AJ fight, which came together kind of last minute after the Tank Davis fight fell apart. But we know Jake Paul's MO here. It's find the most popular guy with the most physical disadvantages for me to fight. And Jake Paul has the benefit that he's turned himself into a villain, or in the pro wrestling circles, a heel. People tune in to what we did not tune into this fight to see competitive boxing. Most of us tuned in because we thought, here's Anthony Joshua. Here's a two-time unified heavyweight champion, a guy who physically just overwhelms Jake Paul. And we're finally going to get what Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz were not physically fit, whether it be through their size, experience, or age, to do, and that is knock out Jake Paul. And so because I don't really feel like we got that satisfying comeuppance that a lot of people have been waiting for, it kind of gives Jake Paul a little bit of mystique, I'd almost say, to still try and string this along. Now, I don't know in terms, he says he wants to be cruiserweight champion. I'm not quite sure what the competitive road there is, because let's make no mistake, the reason this fight lasted as long as it did is because Jake Paul focused exclusively on being elusive. He did his best, and kudos to him, right? He did a great job of not getting cornered. He was always on the gas until the gas sort of fell out from underneath him. And so I don't quite know, short of leveraging his popularity, how he's going to get to that title shot if he's not actually going to fight, like really fight, an elite boxer.
Chaos hit during round 7 of Jake Paul's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when viewers started freaking out. Some fans were saying online platforms had already declared Jake the winner while the fight was still happening. These early victory announcements created massive controversy on social media, making people question whether the whole thing was legitimate. But this incident wasn't unique in Paul's boxing journey. People have been spotting the same patterns for a while now. Hand-picked opponents, massive promotional campaigns, and results that feel almost predetermined.
As you are watching this video, Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez are currently right now in the 7th round of their fight. But when you go to Google and Google the fight, it gives an accurate breakdown of all their past fights. And then it comes to the current fight and it says that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. loses a unanimous decision to Jake Paul in 2025. The fight has not even played out yet. Yet they're saying that this is the end results as they are fighting right now, currently as it stands. This leans testament to the fact that people state that Jake Paul has his fights fixed. What's your thoughts on this? This is nasty work. Unbelievable. This is Google. Google it yourself. Peace.
Jake Paul's matchup with Chavez Jr. was just another example of this ongoing controversy. His fighting style mixes real athletic competition with pure entertainment value. Fans keep noticing the same formula: opponents who are way past their peak, fights built for maximum ratings, and situations that seem designed to work in Paul's favor. All these calculated pieces have people saying his whole career is more about putting on a show than actually proving himself against fighters at his own level.
Some more important and quite serious news in the combat sports world. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling his punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of them. You know, I really did. I thought that Mike Tyson, especially, Iron Mike, he was just going to go in there and knock Jake clean out. But here he is, not trying. I'm so disappointed in him.
Chael Sonnen weighed in on this mess, pointing out how strange it is for someone with just 11 professional fights to be facing guys with decades of experience and Olympic backgrounds. Sonnen's argument is that putting such an inexperienced pro in these massive fights makes no logical sense. He thinks these matchups are clearly designed to create compelling storylines instead of fair athletic competition.
This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua's more experienced or better. I believe in I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course. This is before you get size in there, before you get professional world titles in there. A guy that's done this 11 times cannot go into the Olympic Games and medal. If boxing, in fact, should be believed. I was with Portnoy. I liked it. I liked how he said that. So, you know, that's how I feel too. Because I'm also cheering for Jake Paul. But I get it. I know we're not going to win tonight. But that's a compliment to boxing. And it is very hard for people to digest that Anthony Joshua can't cut him off. He can't find him. He can't do anything with that reach. He can't go out there and rush him. He can't throw this kid in a corner and beat him up. That is disappointing to me. That is baffling to me. As an MMA guy, I will just share with you, that would not be a problem at all. At all. If a guy's running away from me, it would be absolutely no problem. And you could put the boundaries at the city line. You could put it at the state line. I will track him down. I will put him somewhere and I will beat the dog out of him. So in a ring, I get where that is really disappointing. I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what happened. And then Joshua, by the way, has the right to turn to some other thing. Where I'm saying he had to cut him off, grab him, throw him in the corner, go beat him up. Well, I'm saying that Joshua has the right to go, I could feel some stuff. I knew it was going to come my way, right? For Joshua to say, well, I had the experience and yeah, he was moving and yeah, I could have cut him off a little different. But I didn't mind the way this was going. I didn't mind that he was running. I knew he would slow down. I knew he would come to me eventually. Like for that to be Joshua's mindset.
That's just business though. Joe Rogan brought up another angle, stressing that Jake Paul genuinely wants to prove he's a real fighter. Rogan recognizes Paul's motivation to step in there and show he can handle serious opponents. Even if his intentions seem real, the repeated pattern of opponent choices in managed circumstances makes people wonder how much is authentic versus how much is carefully planned to boost Paul's career. This discussion extends to Paul's fight with Anthony Joshua too. Experts like Ariel Helwani explain that Joshua had zero motivation to take unnecessary chances just for money. Since Joshua's already loaded with cash, his priority was protecting his reputation rather than chasing another payday. This explains Joshua's conservative approach, staying safe and avoiding risky situations, showing how differently each fighter approached the stakes. Something's coming at his head.
Like, the head is open. Upstairs is open, and I was surprised that he wasn't going there. But you know, any of this nonsense script bullshit, like if you subscribe to that notion, you're an absolute idiot. You're an absolute idiot. There is no reason for, you know, first of all, you go to jail. Why would Netflix the biggest streaming platform in the world partake in anything like that. Just use your brain. And MVP, too much to lose. You go to jail. Federal effing prison. AJ, like, for what? For what? He doesn't need it. He doesn't need more money. It's great, but to risk this? No. Look at what's going on with the gambling. No way. There's no way. My respect for Jake has grown. I know people don't like to give him credit. You fight amateur, influencer, pro boxing. You have my respect. I don't care what kind of fighter you are. I don't care how many wins you have. You step through those ropes, you have my respect. He lasted 6 rounds. Most didn't think he would. I think the line as far as how many rounds was 2.5. So clearly most people thought he would be out of there around that point. And I think a lot of people were going with the under. He had some moments. He had the antics. Obviously the takedowns and all that weren't great, but golly, I think he was tired. The ring was bigger, and everyone said that was going to benefit him, the 22 by 22 ring. But cardio has been an issue for him, and so when you're circling and dancing, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna gas out, and I think that happened. Arms were down, and he was getting pinned. He was getting cornered, and he was getting, AJ was doing a great job, I think, of not letting the fight be contested in the middle of the ring, cornering him either in the middle, like the turnbuckle, or up against the ropes. He was cutting him off perfectly. And so I know people are going to be upset that AJ didn't get...
That happened before. Dan Raphael broke down more details about the Joshua fight dynamics. He gave Jake Paul credit for surviving as long as he did, explaining that Paul's defensive and careful approach, even though fans hated it, was his only option for lasting multiple rounds against someone with Joshua's skills. Raphael's view is that the fight shows how difficult it is to balance entertainment value with legitimate professional competition. This idea of manufactured results goes way beyond Joshua and Chavez Jr. though. In earlier fights, people have argued that Paul's opponents were strategically selected to maximize viewer interest while keeping real danger to a minimum.
A Looney Tune. I mean, yeah, like you said, did it go 6 rounds and last, a few longer? I'll give credit to Jake for hanging in there. Part of it was because he employed an extremely unfriendly for fans style, but it was the only way he could do it if he wanted to survive that many rounds, which is to basically get on his bicycle and ride around the ring for a bunch of rounds and then get off his bicycle and run, like a criminal at night after the cops show up. So it is what it is. I mean, it'll be the fact that it's still resonated shows you the interest that there was in the fight, and certainly that knockout was a viral clip. And I'll quote the great philosopher Eddie Hearn. We're going to take care of Jake Paul and on to the real boxing in 2026.
Yeah, the great philosopher.
Eddie will like that.
Yeah, he will. I might take that out because he'll like it too much. Look, in terms of AJ now, I think he's always in a no-win situation. I think unless he flattened him within 10 seconds, someone would have something to say. Whether it be before the fight and why is he doing this? Look, we know why he's doing it. And it helps him, I suppose, in the US market as well in terms of coming over here and making a big splash. But do you understand where some people maybe have been a bit critical with how long it's taken, or is it the fact that you fight a guy who's like you mentioned there, he's a novice boxer and he's moving around the ring? Was it down to Anthony to cut him off sooner, or do you see why it went that long?
I mean, look, Anthony certainly could have done a better job cutting the ring off, and Anthony Joshua was the first one to say so himself after the ring. I mean, I've always viewed Joshua as pretty honest when it comes to assessing his own performances.
Wade from a podcast completely trashed the decision to put a 58-year-old in the ring with Paul, saying that kind of setup should never happen under legitimate circumstances. His take was that the fight's result and structure were decided beforehand, motivated mainly by money instead of fair competition. The idea that these matches are fixed gets stronger when you look at the patterns of opponent selection, media hype, and controlled fight elements. Even with all the criticism, Paul keeps claiming he's a legitimate fighter, taking on big-name opponents and staying constantly in the spotlight. But the controversy around his fights isn't going anywhere. People notice that while Paul shows real skill and toughness, the managed aspects aspects of his career. Older opponents, defensive tactics, and massive promotion create the impression that most fights are entertainment first and sports second. Because of this, experts and fans keep arguing about whether his career represents genuine competition or just a series of planned events designed to keep him popular and profitable.
That, yes, of course, at 58, I think a lot of people in that ring could have hurt Mike because, again, Mike did not look like he should be in a ring. But we just saw this whole experiment. We don't need a Logan and Mike Tyson fight after this. For Logan to clearly not get the joke and disrespect Mike to his face after he had just fought Jake in this amazing event, and all you can really do is give him his flowers because that's what you should do right then. Logan has to take it another level and continue to be the asshole. So again, the self-awareness on Logan Paul, whether it's Lunchley or Prime or anything to do with crypto, the guy just doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. But then, you know, like I said, Jake didn't really call anybody out in the post-fight presser, in his post-fight interview with Ariel, but the internet went ablaze over, you know, him fighting Mike and how are you continuing to fight these older guys and Mike being 58 and what does Jake do next?
That wraps up today's content. Catch you next time.